For over 600 years, the Ottoman Empire was a titan, a sprawling dominion that bridged continents and cultures, stretching across Europe, Asia, and Africa. It was a global superpower, a beacon of culture, trade, and military might. But by the dawn of the 20th century, this colossal empire, once seemingly invincible, was teetering on the brink of collapse. This is the incredible story of how one of history's greatest empires met its end, and how from its ashes, a new nation, modern Turkey, was forged. The journey begins in 1299 with a small Turkish state led by a visionary named Osman I. From these humble origins, his successors launched an era of relentless expansion. Through a brilliant mix of military conquest and shrewd diplomacy, the empire grew. The pivotal moment came in 1453. Sultan Mehmed II, forever known as Mehmed the Conqueror, achieved the impossible. He captured Constantinople, the legendary capital of the Byzantine Empire. The city was reborn as Istanbul, and it quickly blossomed into one of the world's most magnificent capitals, a true crossroads of civilization. For the next few centuries, the Ottoman Empire was in its golden age. Under the rule of Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century, the empire reached its zenith. Its borders stretched from Hungary in the west to Iraq in the east, from the deserts of Yemen to the shores of Algeria. Ottoman armies were the most feared on earth. Its art and architecture were admired across the globe, and its society was a rich, vibrant tapestry of different faiths and cultures. Istanbul was the center of the world, a city humming with energy, innovation, and power. But, as history teaches us, no empire is eternal. Following the death of Suleiman, a slow, creeping decay began to set in. The foundations of the empire started to crack under the weight of internal corruption, fierce political rivalries, and growing economic hardship. The world was changing around them. New global trade routes, which bypassed Ottoman lands, shifted the flow of wealth away from the empire. Simultaneously, the nations of Europe, particularly Britain, France, and Russia, were surging in power and ambition. The once mighty empire was now being called the sick man of Europe. This weakness fueled the fires of nationalism within its borders. Rebellions erupted across the Balkans, a region seething with a desire for independence. Greece broke away in the 1820s, and it wasn't long before Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania followed suit, carving their own nations out of former Ottoman territory. The Ottomans knew they had to adapt or die. They launched a series of ambitious modernization efforts known as the Tanzimat Reforms, aiming to overhaul their military, bureaucracy, and legal systems. But these changes were too little, too late, and they ignited a fierce internal struggle between conservatives who clung to tradition and reformers who pushed for a more modern state. As the 19th century drew to a close, the empire was trapped in a painful tug-of-war between its past and its future. The sultans fought to preserve their absolute, divinely sanctioned authority, while a new, powerful movement was rising. They called themselves the Young Turks, a group of progressive intellectuals and military officers who demanded a constitutional government and rapid modernization. Their calls for change grew louder as the empire's economy crumbled under the weight of massive foreign debt, making it dangerously dependent on the very European powers that sought to dismantle it. At the same time, nationalist movements among the empire's diverse peoples, Arabs, Armenians, and Kurds, were gaining momentum, pulling the multicultural fabric of the empire apart at the seams. Unity was fracturing, and the sick man of Europe was growing weaker by the day. Then came the final, fatal blow. In 1914, as the world plunged into the Great War, the Ottoman Empire made a catastrophic decision. It joined the conflict on the side of Germany and Austria-Hungary. It was a gamble for survival that would ultimately seal its fate. Ottoman soldiers fought with incredible courage and tenacity. At Gallipoli, they achieved a stunning victory against the Allies, a battle that made a hero out of a brilliant officer named Mustafa Kemal. But individual bravery couldn't save an empire that was already exhausted and structurally weak. The sheer scale and brutality of a modern, global war were too much to bear. When the guns finally fell silent in 1918, the Ottoman Empire was on the losing side, defeated and broken. Allied forces occupied its capital and its heartlands. The Treaty of Sevres, signed in 1920, was a final humiliation. It was designed to completely dismember the empire, carving up its territories among the victors. Britain and France took control of the Middle East, while Greece launched an invasion of western Anatolia, the Turkish heartland. It was the darkest hour. It seemed that the once glorious Ottoman Empire was well and truly finished, destined to be just a memory in the history books. But from the depths of this defeat, a leader emerged from the ruins. Mustafa Kemal, the hero of Gallipoli, refused to accept the dismemberment of his homeland. He rejected the Treaty of Sevres and rallied the Turkish people to fight for their sovereignty. This was the start of the Turkish War of Independence. With brilliant military strategy and an unbreakable spirit, Kemal's nationalist forces fought against the invading armies, driving them out of Anatolia against all odds. By 1923, they had secured their homeland. In that same year, the Republic of Turkey was officially proclaimed. The last Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed VI, was sent into exile, and the ancient institution of the Sultanate was abolished. After more than 600 years, the Ottoman Empire was no more. Mustafa Kemal, who would soon be given the name Ataturk, meaning father of the Turks, became the first president. He didn't just create a new country, he forged a new identity, building a modern, secular state and launching a series of radical reforms that would transform every aspect of Turkish society, from its laws and language to the way its people dressed and lived. The fall of the Ottoman Empire wasn't just the end of a single ruling dynasty. It marked the end of an entire era, an age of sprawling, multi-ethnic empires ruled by a single crown. But from this monumental collapse came a powerful rebirth. A new nation, a new identity, and a bold new vision for the future rose from the ashes. The legacy of the Ottoman Empire lives on today, shaping the modern world in countless ways, from the stunning architecture that graces its former lands to the delicious cuisine shared across continents and the complex political landscape of the Middle East and the Balkans. The empire itself may be gone, but its echoes still resonate, forever imprinted on the lands once touched by its crescent and star. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through history. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. We'll see you in the next one.